145 owners and 41 proxies, that makes 186. Developer 2,670 for a total of 2,856. So right now we have a quorum, and I declare the General Assembly meeting is now called to order. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is to approve the November 2016 Ordinary Assembly meeting minutes as recorded in Mexicali and posted in the HOA website. They have been posted for all 1 year, so they have been available to the owners to read and comment something about them. Do we have a motion for approving them? Second? Any commentaries or discussion on it? Okay, those in favor, please raise your hand. Those not in favor? Okay, the motion is approved. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce your current supervisors committee. Steve Kimmy, President, Ed Jones, and Bob Miller. As you know, this year we have to elect new supervisors in accordance with that, article number 66. I want to thank with the bottom of my heart for this team of supervisors that have been working very hard, very committed, and I really appreciate that from 3 of you. Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Steve Kimmy will now present the Supervisors Committee report.
Thank you, Roberto. Next slide. Next slide, please. So the agenda, what I want to do, as I do every year that I'm up here, is kind of talk about what we've done so far this year, what we set out to do with things. I want to talk a little bit about the budget. Now, I'm not going to do details on the budget. Roberto does that. I'm going to talk about how our thoughts into making the budget and what impacted the budget. There's been a lot of discussion, chatter, everything about the BMC contract, so I've got a lot of information on what's happened with the BMC contract, where it stands, how we got to where we are. And then finally, what do we want to try to do next year as we move on? So, next slide. So, one of the things that we did, actually we didn't do, the engineering people from the HOA did, but the supervisors put it in the budget, is to put an infrared fence all the way around the ranch. Now, this has been a couple of years in process. 2017 it was complete. We have a perimeter of 29 miles. Every mile is covered with infrared fence. We spent a lot of time negotiating medical services, BMC, and I'll get into details on that. The biggest thing we tried to do this year is some fine-tuning and adjustments. A lot of this has to do with the fact, and Pat gave you an update yesterday on where he stands on investors, but we wanted to make sure that when a new investor comes into the ranch, whether they own 50%, 100%, 10%, whatever it is, that we have 2 HOAs here, Mountainside and Seaside, and we share things, Mountainside and Seaside, and we wanted to make sure that we had those things locked down into an area in a way that it'll work moving into the future. So lots of meetings, probably 6+ meetings that we had with all the supervisors, just to figure out how do we do things, how do we have the Seaside pay the Mountainside for services we provide. Vice versa, how does the Mountainside pay the Seaside for services they provide? Because of the laws in Mexico and in Baja California, you can't share things. Only one HOA can own the water truck. You can't share the water truck. So if we own the water truck and it waters their roads, well, that's a service, as an example. So a lot of work went into that. The other thing is we worked on communications. We tried to do a lot of work on the web, Arturo, particularly on redesigning some things. We're not done, but we're trying to make it more user-friendly. The newsletters and town halls, we've continued and we've tried to improve those based on feedback that we get. The one on the bottom is we're going to work with the new JP company. If you remember last year, Stephanie Summers was here and it was a done deal. Well, it wasn't a done deal. So we didn't have anybody to work with, so we didn't do that. Next slide. The other thing is there was a lot of discussion between people that play tennis and pickleball and how do we share the courts, particularly at the Cachemire. The tennis courts on this side do not belong to any HOA, they belong to Pat Bullock. It's developer's property just like this building is. It's not an HOA facility. We worked with Pat, twisted some arms, finally got him to agree to allow us to make a pickleball center. So we started the process of moving or redoing the tennis courts and making them into a first-class pickleball center that can be used for international tournaments to bring people into the ranch. We're not done yet. There's still more work to be done. There's money in the budget in 2018 from our budget because we wanted to make this happen to get it done. Now, once it's done, any maintenance falls on the Seaside HOA because it's in their area, not in our area. But we are paying to complete the transformation of that. The other thing that we did is candidate forms for the supervisory position. Everybody, unless there's nominations from the floor that wants to run for a supervisor, filled out a form. We posted it on the web, we put it in the newsletter. I know some supervisors held, I'm going to call them town halls, where people could come and talk to them. They got questions, so we wanted to make people aware of who wants to be a supervisor and give them several months to talk to the supervisors instead of what's always happened in the past. There's a nomination from the floor and you hear 5 minutes and then you're asked to vote. We didn't think that was working, so that's something else that we did. Next slide, please. So, budget items. Income comes in 3 ways: owner's collection and resort fees. The balance sheet, and I'll discuss some of those. The balance sheet, if people read the balance sheet, we have some debt on the balance sheet, and it's for CAM. When I first became a supervisor, our CAM debt was slightly over $500,000. Through working with the developer, we've been able to get that debt down to about $210,000. Okay, now, why should we care? If you remember, we were trying to do a government program that would put heat pumps driven by solar panels for the Cachemire pool. We passed all the technical specs, not a problem. When it came to financial, they shot us down. We didn't get the money, and we downgraded, and we did some solar and a heat pump for the spa, because that's all we could afford. But we want to make sure that if we try to do something, we have no debt on our balance sheet. Now, the other thing we did based on potential change in ownership, and again, Pat can tell you the details on what percentage a change would be, I don't know. But we wanted to make sure that if a new owner came in and let's say they owned 100%, that they wouldn't call that debt and say, hey, you owe me $210,000, pay up. And oh, by the way, the Seaside, it's over $1 million for those guys. So we were able to work with the developer to get amendment to the CAM contract that basically says that debt's not callable. So it protects the HOA in case of change of ownership. So again, a lot of what we did was anticipating a change in ownership should it happen 100%. If it happens less than that, well, it's a different story. But we wanted to make sure that the HOA was protected, so we did a lot of work there. Inflation this year in Mexico is higher than it was last year. The budgets are created in August. So in August, we look at what the projected inflation rate is. It was 6%. The other thing we look at is the exchange rate. The exchange rate in the beginning of the year was 21 pesos to a dollar. When we did the budget, it was 18.5. So it was heading down, so we had to take that into account when the budget was done. Things. So 70% of the budget, well, let me step back. All the money is coming in dollars, but 70% goes out in pesos. So the exchange rate is a problem. So we had to take all of this stuff into account, and if you look at the budget, there's a 4% increase. It's the cost of living, cost of our fuel, and things like that has gone up, and the exchange rate has gone down. So that's why we did the 4% increase. The other thing somebody asked is, with the entire income lowered, why did we give raises to the employees? Well, a good part of that 70% is going to the employees, and they're hit with that same increase in buying not just fuel, but bread and milk and everything else. If we want to keep good employees, we got to keep them whole. So we gave them a modest raise. Next slide, please. So another thing that's hitting us hard, and I'm going back to 2015, which was the first budget that I worked on. We had a total of 5,239 owners projected for the budget, for dues income. For 2018, we have 4,214. We've lost over 1,000 people that go into the income that we expect to get. Next slide. And what that does to our income is we had dues of about $4 million, slightly over $4 million projected in 2015, and even with increases, we had an increase in 2016, 17 we didn't, we have an increase in 2018. We are projecting only 3.7 million. So our total income is going down on things, and that's hurting us. And again, that goes into the budget consideration on how much money we're going to get in, not just how much do we put out. Next slide. And this is a slide I presented last year, just to back it up, is that we showed that in 2016, the exchange rate was 15-1 when we did that budget. So that was actually done in 2015, August of 2015, we did the 2016 budget. The 2017 budget was 1775-1, and as I just said, when we did the budget now, it was 1750-1. So, you know, that was another impact on why we had to increase dues. And we told you if the peso appreciates, in other words, it's less than 1775-1, we're going to get an impact, and we did, unfortunately. Next slide. Okay, so I want to move into medical services for the El Dorado community. And I have a lot of slides here. Some I'm going to go through very fast because this is all going to be posted. But I do want to take everybody through this. Next slide. Who the committee is, the process, what we required, and then information on the amendments and the deliverables. Next slide. So, in October of last year, at a supervisor meeting, we realized that we needed to work on the contract. The contract expires December 31st of this year, and we needed time. So a committee was put together, the three supervisors from EDR, Ed, Bob, and myself, because there's two contracts. There's an EDR contract, and there's a La Ventana contract. This is two HOAs. Again, they have to be separate legally. So we brought Hans in, who is a supervisor at La Ventana, to be part of the committee, and also Roberta, because really all we can do is advise the administrator, who is Jesus Momos, and Roberto is Jesus' proxy for everything, so he had to be in the only thing. Next slide. Basically, as I said, We negotiated what needed to be changed in the contract. We then present that to the administrator, to Jesus, and he's seen it. And he either accepts or rejects our proposal. Now, because we have Roberto as part of the process, if there's things that weren't going to work, we knew early on that it wasn't going to work. So he does that, he does the legal review, and then if he approves, he signs the contract. Pat Butler was not involved in any of the negotiations, anything on this, right? People say, well, it's Pat's going to do what he wants to do. He was not involved. Now, he was apprised of what was happening, mainly to protect the working committee. One of the owners of BMC is good friends with Pat. He was in his foursome at the golf tournament. So when we had things that we wanted to push back on BMC, we let him know so they couldn't short circuit us. And I can tell you they tried, and Pat told them, go to the committee. I'm not talking to you about this. So it was truly an HOA negotiation. Developer not involved other than being informed. Next slide. So the process that we went through is we didn't want 5 people to make a decision on what thousands of people would get. So if you were at the GA meeting last year, you were given a small slip of paper. There was a survey, and it asked for some demographics. We want to know who are full-time residents, who are snowbirds, age, sex, things like that. There's no identifying information on that survey, and then because we didn't want to know. We didn't want to know particular things. We asked if you've used BMC, what did you do for it? Do you want to use BMC in the future? What kind of things do you want? And some information on, your opinions on BMC. Now, we got some people that say, get rid of them, they're worthless. But for every comment that we got that says, get rid of them, we had 7 or 8 that says, do not get rid of them, they're very important. So 85% of the respondents want to keep BMC. Okay? We then took the information that we got on those surveys, because it was a kind of fill in the blank, and we created another bigger survey that was handed out for when people came into the office to pay their HOA dues, and asked them to fill that out. Same kind of information, but more detailed and things. So 2 surveys. The other thing that we asked is, it's BMC, the payment HOA does, it's not insurance, but you can think of it as insurance. It helps make sure that there is a clinic here. How much would you pay per month for that insurance? And we got ranges from $0 to $25. The average was $10. People felt $10 a month was a reasonable amount to pay to have a clinic here. Okay, so we took all that information. The other thing is, so we took all that information, we developed a 10-year medical architecture for things that we have now and things we want to grow into. We reached out to BMC with that architecture. We talked to some other providers like Amateur, I forget how you pronounce it. Amateur, okay. Big hospital in Mexicali, they have a clinic, they've been interested in maybe opening something down here. We've talked to some of the local doctors down here to say, would you be interested, right, on doing something? We also worked with Sharp Medical. Sharp has a lot of presence on the west coast of Baja, in Rosarito and Ensenada and other places in Mexico. I met with the VP of International Operations there in San Diego. She assigned one of the directors to work with us to get some information. They won't build a clinic, but give us some ideas and everything else. So again, it wasn't 5 people, it was 2 surveys, working with stuff. At the end of the day, nobody wanted to step up to have a clinic here except BMC. So we went down to BMC. People have said before, well, why don't you look at somebody else? We did. Nobody wants it. So it's BMC or nothing. So that's where we are. All right, next slide. So this is the architecture. Oh boy, the colors didn't come out. Ouch. Okay, so urgent care, that's what BMC is. We have that. That should be a green. I don't know why it's white. The wellness program, we don't have, but that's some things that people ask for. We got things like drug help, smoking, stuff like that. Just keep yourself healthy. They wanted that to be added. Okay, we don't have that right now. Transportation, emergency transportation, we have it local in Mexicali through the negotiations that the HOA did with Cruz Roja, $400. They will take you to the border. If it's local, they don't charge you anything. So we have that. Non-emergencies, we had Maspida. There was a transportation company, we had them here at one of the town halls with their things. They would take people, non-emergency stuff, but let's say you're wheelchair bound and you need a ride to the Malecon because you want to go out for lunch. They would do that, right? At fees that were comparable to what a taxi pays. They would take you up to Mexicali, and if you had a doctor's appointment or something else, they could take you all the way up to El Centro, take you through the medical lane, and take you up there and stuff. So that's available. We'd like to have something direct to San Diego. We work with Sharp on that. Right now, that's a far future. There are legal issues and government restrictions. For example, you can't take off from the airport at night. So if you have an emergency at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can't get on a plane. You got to be driven. Telemedicine. According to the folks from BMC, and they own several clinics up in Las Vegas, a lot of doctors now are moving to telemedicine. So they may have 10 appointments a day, 8 of them are in the office, and 2 of them are a telemedicine appointment. So instead of being in the office at 3 o'clock on Thursday, you're on the computer at 3 o'clock on Thursday, and they do the thing. So we wanted to try to move that down here to see what we could do with telemedicine. The other thing is, if there is some type of, I'm going to say emergency, even though BMC is not an emergency thing, somebody comes in with a heart attack, they would have the ability through telemedicine to bring in a cardiac specialist out of their facility to help the local guys, because we don't have cardiac specialists down here. Right? In-home assisted care, a number of people have folks locally that help out. Maybe you have a aging mother or father, and you need somebody to help you, help them get out of the bed in the morning, help them wash. A number of people are doing that already, but it's not institutionalized. So if the person that's helping you can't make it that day, you're out of luck. Right? So we want to do that. Try to bring that in, and then eventually an assisted living facility. A lot of stuff has to happen. That's farther in the future. And the final thing is Meals on Wheels. If we do have an in-home process, then we've already talked with the pavilion, with Cesar, and we can work out menus through a dietitian that then can be delivered to people in their homes. Right? It's not you get to order off the menu, right? But we can do a special thing for that. They're willing to turn that on, but we need the in-home assisted care process to do that. Next slide. Okay, so our requirements. Number one, the existing contract's fixed price. So when it got signed 10 years ago, the cost per owner was about half of what it is today, because, as I showed before, the number of dues paying people are declining, right? So we wanted something tied, a monthly rate tied to the number of owners that we have based on the budget. If we get more owners and we get more money, BMC gets more money. If the ownership drops and we get less money, BMC gets less money. So their income rises and falls with the number of owners we have. That's one requirement. The second thing is we need to have an explicit listing of BMC content. The current contract basically says they provide urgent care services. That's it. I'll show you, it's very extensive, what's in the contract. And then the other thing is, while there is an advisory board that meets with the BMC, I'm a member of the board, as is Ed and Hans, we really aren't told how that money is being spent. And we want to know, it's our money. How are you spending our money? Who are you spending it on? Who's coming in? What services are you providing for them? And stuff. So there was a lot of other mid stuff, but they were the key requirements. So the details on the amendment, and this is what has been negotiated, and it's sitting with Jesus Olmos for his review and approval. It's a 10-year extension to the contract. Payments will be paid based on dues paying owners that we wanted. What we're going to do, and this is, I'm not going to get into details, the budget's an estimate, right? I showed you what we thought our dues paying ownership was going to be in 2018. It was a guess. So we will pay BMC every month, that number times the negotiated rate. Okay, well, at the end of the year, we may have more or less, so we have to do some reconciliation, and there's multiple paragraphs on how we do the reconciliation. So if we owe them more, we have to pay them. If we overpay, they pay us back. That's in the contract, okay? There's no escalation in the rate. The rate is fixed. When we did the budget, and what's sitting in the contract right now is $9 per owner per month. I told you people said $10 was the average. We got under the $10. Right now, if you took our existing fixed price contract for 2018, we would be paying $10.13 per owner. So we were able to lower the price over the existing contract and get a lot more services. Okay, copays. If you live in Pete's Camp and come over to use BMC to see a doctor, your copay is $30. Okay? Because of our agreement and paying and helping subsidize BMC, our copayment is $10. Now, the contract allows them to increase the copayment $3 per year to a cap of $25. They don't want to increase the copays, but we had to put in, an allowance for that to happen. Okay. One big difference is to get that copay, right? You got to have your HOA card. So when you go to the BMC, and if you don't have your HOA card, you pay $30. If you got your HOA membership card, you pay $10. Because, and the reason we're doing this is a lot of people don't pay their dues, right? And if you don't pay your dues, you don't get the benefit of people that are paying the dues. So you pay $30, right? So if you forget your card, they're going to say, you didn't pay your dues, $30. So make sure that you have your card when you go to the BMC, and they're going to use that to give you the $10 copay. Okay? The other thing is the existing contract has 3 visits per lot per year, right? That's been removed. You can go as many times as you want with that copay. Not only can you go as many times as you want, if you have your, Aunt Betsy is down visiting and she needs to go, take her to the BMC with your card and she pays $10, right? As much as you want, right? That's new in the contract. So it's unlimited access at the $10 copay. Okay? Next. Quarterly report. Again, we're going to get information on all patient visits, right? So not just El Dorado, but everybody that shows up at BMC. So we'll know how many visits are coming from El Dorado versus Pete's Camp, Playa de Oro, and wherever, right? We'll know that. We're going to have information on what kind of services are being provided. Okay, we're going to have information on the demographics and stuff. So this will help us as we move forward with all the services that they have in that white space that should have been, the stuff that should have been white, that was white, but not the stuff that should have been green, to help us fill that in, right? So we can understand as we move forward. This is not going to end once the contract's done. We're going to continue working on this. Next slide. So the deliverables. Okay, so I'm going to go through these fast, but the visits, next slide. X-rays, right? Only digital X-ray, south of Mexicali, right? So we have that. Just as an FYI, IMSS sends a lot of their patients to BMC for X-rays. Okay, so next slide. Ultrasound. Now, ultrasound is by appointment only because you have to have a tech that meets that. They don't have a full-time tech there, but they will. You can make an appointment and you can get ultrasound for this next. And also, the ultrasound at BMC is more advanced than any other ultrasound that's in San Felipe. Okay? Injections, just, go through some respiratory therapy, emergency occur. So here's the biggest problem they have here is somebody with a heart problem, heart attack, right? It's not an emergency clinic, it is a urgent care. They try to stabilize people, and then with the doctor, and then hopefully with telemedicine, with advice of a cardiac surgeon or something in the States, make a decision, what do you do with this patient? You put them on an ambulance and get them up to Mexicali or the States? Are they okay to be stabilized and stay? But that's the biggest problem, and a lot of work is being done in that area. Next. Different support services. Next. Laboratory. Next. Oh, yeah, go back a minute. I'm sorry. All the medical records are stored in a cloud in the United States under HIPAA protection. So even though this is Mexico, you have the same protection of your medical record as required by law in the United States at BMC. Right, so that's in there. Next slide. This is an eye chart. This is their current, and again, this will be on the way. This is their current price list. Okay, so it's $10 to go pay to see a doctor, but if you need catheters or you need some other things, there's a charge for that. Okay, these prices are comparable. I won't say they're exactly the same, but they are comparable to Medicare allowed pricing. So again, if you go to the doctor's office, he charges $150. Medicare says he can only get $73.50. Well, their price would be $73.50, not the $150 that the doctor would charge, type stuff, right? So they're trying to keep things, low cost for the owners. Next slide. Okay, so that's kind of where we are in BMC. If people have questions on that, but I think we've done a lot of work. We've got input from the owners. We've driven down the cost. And we've expanded the services, and again, it's BMC or nothing, right? It's BMC or drive to the border when you need urgent care. 2018, just a couple of reminders, property taxes. I have to say this every year, people forget you don't get a property tax bill. It's your responsibility to find out how much you owe and pay it. There's information on the HOA web how to do it. It will be in the November newsletter, it will be in the December newsletter, it will be in the January newsletter. We're going to tell you how to pay your property taxes. Every year, don't know for sure this year, every year from about mid-January to mid-March, Socorro gets somebody from the tax office to be in the customer service office at the entrance on Sotito Road. So if you're here, you can go down there, you can pay by cash, dollars, pesos, you can pay by check, Visa or MasterCard. Okay, so easy to pay property taxes. There's ways to do it on the web. And things. Next slide. Trust. This only applies if you have an individual trust. If you're in the master trust, plug your ears, go to sleep, read something, because it doesn't apply to you. But if you have an individual trust, it's most likely with HSBC. If you went to the branch, it's with HSBC. Some people have them with other banks, but HSBC is out of the trust business. They've been directed by their headquarters to get out of the trust business. They used to contract with Netzer, and Netzer would then send out how much you owe. They work with HSBC, you send it out, you can pay them. Netzer doesn't do that. Now, I know they reach out to people, they will still do it, but they will charge you for it. In the past, they got it from HSBC. So if you want to respond to Netzer, that's fine. But there is a way to find out how much you owe and send a check in. Again, it's going to be posted on the website, it's going to be in the newsletter, so that you know how to pay your HSBC trust. Okay, next. Finally, wills. It's really important that people understand a will in the U.S. has no legal standing in Mexico. If you have assets in Mexico and you want to protect them in case of death, you need to have a Mexican will. If you have a fideicomiso, people, I have a fideicomiso. And I've got things on that. That only covers the property and the structures. It doesn't cover the flat screen TV that's inside. It doesn't cover the car that's in your garage. It doesn't cover the bank account you have with Bancomer. All of that has to be in the Mexican will. We've had the notario here speaking. He's down across from Bancomer in that 3-story building. He's on the top floor. He will do that. There's another attorney on the other side, Carmen Nunez. She will do a will, but if you have assets here, it's not required, but we recommend that you have a will, Mexican will, okay? Next slide. Oh yeah, the final thing, marriage license. Again, let's say you're in a car accident and your spouse gets taken to the hospital. Worse yet, your spouse dies in the accident. Right? You have no proof that you're married. You keep a copy of your U.S. marriage license, so at least you can show, yeah, we are married. That is my husband, that is my wife. So you should keep that, right? That doesn't cost you anything other than whatever the fee is to get a copy of your marriage license from the county where it's recorded. Next slide. Okay, let's look quickly into 2018. Okay, we're going to complete the pickleball center in time for the March International Tournament. We're going to get that done. We're going to update the Cashmere Tennis Court Complex. Now the star means that's not in the budget because again, revenues went down, and even with an increase, we have revenues going down, so the things had to be cut. Hopefully, the exchange rate, it's now up to 19 to 1, so we get more pesos than we thought we would get. We'd have some money to do this. But the center court right now is pickleball. Pickleball is going to be removed. We're going to put in a multi-use court. We're going to put a tennis court in, but on one side of the tennis court, we're going to put basketball nets. So if people want to play basketball, it's been, it was in the community center plan. Let's get real. We don't have money to think about the community center here. People want to play basketball. So there'll be courts there that they can play basketball. And then the thought is maybe on the other side, maybe do some volleyball courts or something, but that's not defined, but for sure they're going to put some basketball courts in there and things. The tennis club is doing beautification, and thank you so much for doing that. It's out of the money out of their own pocket. If you've been over there, there's some trees, they're starting to put in some walkways. We want to help them out if we have money to continue that beautification. It's part of the master plan for that complex, so we want to do that again. Don't have budget, but if we have some money left over, we're going to try to do that. Okay. We've had complaints mainly from the volleyball players, pool volleyball players. There's not enough shade, and we know that. So again, we have a design done by our architect, Cindy Montagna, for putting in more pergolas at that center so that we have shade. And actually, they're going to be designed in the way there's some individual pergolas that maybe eventually can be closed off with, curtains or something like that. Again, we don't have the money. The design's there. If money becomes available, we know where to spend it already. And then the last thing is, as Roberto said, there's elections for new supervisors this year. I've spoken with both of them. They both have some good ideas, new things. So as we look at doing 2018, we need to take their thoughts into consideration. I don't know what they are now. We'll let you know when they get elected. Next. So again, we're going to work with BMC. BMC wants to do wellness programs. They're going to implement some things. They want to do the telemedicine. We're working with them on doing telemedicine. They will support in-home assisted care. They're not going to do that. But if we can find somebody that wants to start a business, a nurse would be really great, so you can have somebody go in and do IV drips or whatever else. They will work with them and if necessary, maybe give them some office space to work with. So they're going to do all of that. And that's part of what we want to try to do to move forward, again, to fill out the white space for requests from the owners and what they want in the way of medical services. So, next slide. The newsletter. We've talked about this, still under discussion, but one of the things we're looking at is letters to the editor. right? It's a supervisor newsletter, but people have no way sometimes of communicating with other owners. So we're looking at doing letters to the editor. Now, this is not a place to go and complain about something. This is a place where, for example, Sue Green sends me a thing on the dog park, right? To let people know what's happening with the dog. Just like a request for maintenance services on the website, the letters for the editor on the website. Just because you send one in doesn't mean it gets posted, right? It's going to be reviewed, and if it's deemed not appropriate for any reason, right? I want to sell my car, forget it, it's not going to get posted, right? So, but we're looking at doing that. It's still in discussion with the current supervisors. It will be in discussion with the new supervisors at the end of this month. Club committee news. Every once in a while we get some things, but we've got commitment out of the tennis committee communications coordinator on doing updates. You know, they have, I don't know, monthly tournaments and stuff. I don't know when they're happening. I mean, I play tennis. I mean, maybe I want to go do it. So things that are happening with the different clubs and committees, we want, to have them, give us input. So we put it in the newsletter and let people know. And then the last thing is in and around San Felipe. It's kind of interesting. A couple issues ago, there was an article that actually Roberto did for us on the paving of the road next to the, it used to be the Brothers San Felipe Storage all the way back. That was the most read article in that newsletter, right? So people want to know what's happening outside the ranch. So we're going to do more of that. We're going to let you know what's happening outside the ranch. We're looking to expand the calendar that doesn't just have things like HOA meetings and town halls and stuff like that. It's going to have things that you can find in other places, typically on the door of Sunrunner, if you're down here. But, when is Steak in the Park going to be held? When and where? Things about the Arts and Blues is here, but Paella Festival, things that are happening around town that people may want to go to. We're gonna put that in the newsletter so you know what's happening. Okay. Again, if you're not getting the newsletter, it's because we don't have your email address. We have all but 200 owners' email address, and I'm guessing those people don't have email, because there are some people here that still, in 2017, don't use email. Okay. They tend to be 80, 90 years old, but still they don't get it. And we have about, I think our total said 300 rejections. So when we send the newsletter out, they bounce back because somebody moved, they didn't change their email address. We need to get those. We want to get the newsletter out to everybody, because more and more that's how we're going to do communications. It's cheap. It doesn't cost us anything to send them out. Whereas if we send paper out, the mailings for this thing is probably $8,000. We can't afford to do that every month. Next. The website, again, while the newsletter goes out to a lot of people, only about half of the people are registered at the website. So they can see the newsletter, but the articles are on the website. They can't see that. But go to the website, bounce around it, and give us feedback, things that don't work, or things that you'd like to see changed, right? Again, we want to get input from the community on this, to do that. The other thing, just as an FYI, and it's not, I don't think it's well known, there are parts of the website that are public. You don't need to log in to see those. And we're going to be looking to take some of the newsletter articles that are appropriate for public consumption and put them on that part of the website, so you don't have to log in to see those articles. Now, if it's something that is financially oriented, or things like, the people running for supervisors, their details and contact information, that's going to be protected. That's for owners only. It's not for anybody that goes to the website and stuff. So that's changes that we're looking to make there. And then, again, if you don't give Sakura your email address, can't stress that more. We want everybody's email address. Next. Okay, I'm going to take 5 minutes. If people have questions, please come up to the podium for questions. And then if there's more questions after 5 minutes, then we'll take them at the end. But we don't want to, I take a whole lot of time. Again, if you could state your name and where you live.
Sammy Osborne, Bristol's home. Hello?
Yep, it's,
Two quick questions on the infrared security. How far are the nodes from each other?
hi. Senor Perez, how far are the nodes, the infrared security nodes apart? 500 meters.
Okay, the second question is you said we lost a lot of people here, that's why the HOA dues are down.
Yes.
Well, that lot is, or property is still owned by somebody. And
Yes.
it's owned by somebody, and they're not paying, you can put a lien on it.
Okay. The answer to liens is yes, we can, but let's take a piece of dirt. Because most of the people that aren't paying, they don't have houses, some are, but most of it, they just own dirt here, okay? And that dirt is now worth $10,000. It's going to cost us maybe $12,000, legal fees and everything else, to get that $10,000 back. It doesn't make sense. We can't do it. They are working on trying to do legal action, and Mexico's different from the U.S. on what you can do. You just can't slap something up. You got to go through the courts to do things, okay? They are looking to do it on high value properties. So for example, some of the homes in La Ventana that are worth, a couple $100,000, they're going after them first to try to get a process in place. But if it's just dirt, it's not going to make sense unless we can work something out. You don't want to go to the judge for every lot, which is what you'd have to do. Thank you.
Ross Wilkin, La Ventana Del Mar. I have 4, but I'll only ask 2, and then if anybody else has any more,
Sure.
ask the other 2. You mentioned BMC, the new contract will be $9 per lot owner, and I assume that means paying lot owner, and if it does, at what point does a lot owner who has no longer been paying their HOA fees become a non-owner? In other words, are we paying $9 per owned lot regardless of whether they're paying their fees or not? How do you determine what a lot owner is?
What we are doing is, again, in the budget laws, there's an estimate of how many people are going to be paying fees. Okay, and I forget the number that I had up for 2018. Now, there's more lot owners than that, but that's based on historical action. That's how many people we think will be paying their HOA fees. And that's the number that is used to calculate how much we pay to BMC on a basis. And again, if it's a guess, and at the end of the year, we have to reconcile the guess up or down based on the actual number that really did pay for 2018. We don't know that until January of 2019 after all our records are in.
Okay. And since there are 2 HOAs, and we're speaking of this side HOA, I would assume the La Ventana side and so forth, that it's the same contract. So
it's word for word the same contract, except it says La Ventana Del Mar versus El Dorado Ranch. Just the things that are different, but all the details exactly the same.
Okay. And at the beginning of the slide that you put up on that, it said a 10-year extension of the existing contract.
Yes.
And yet, I would assume we're talking about a new contract now. So is it a 10-year extension of the old contract or a 10-year extension of the new contract?
It is an amendment to the original contract that extends it for 10 years.
Okay, so it's an extension of the old contract with those amendments,
Yes.
one of which is the amount paid to the contract.
Yes. Yes.
So a lot of things changed.
A lot of things changed.
Okay.
A lot of things changed.
All right. Sorry to keep going on, but you're not stopping me, so why not?
You get one more in this.
Okay.
Behind you.
All right. You had mentioned that the budget, when it was done, it was based on 17.5 pesos, and it's currently 19 pesos. So we're up about 8%. How is that reflected as a line item, let's say next year? Is there a column that shows peso plus or minus so that you can budget with that money? Like you said, if there's extra money, we can put it towards the pool and so forth. So is there an accountability for that plus or minus for peso fluctuation since 70% of our bills are paid in pesos?
Yes.
Okay,
It's,
so,
it's in the details on the budget. Not on the front page that you guys got. If you go back and look at the details, it tells about, you know, what the rates were in 2017 and what the rates are in 2018.
okay, can I have one? I didn't know you said,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine.
But you can come back. You don't have to leave. You don't have to leave. Just give her a chance. Yeah.
I was wondering,
Close to me, member.
I was wondering, as far as the community center, is there anything as far as budget?
No.
None.
No. The community center is estimated to cost, you know, well north of $1 million.
Okay.
And we just don't have the money to do that. You know, again,
I was wondering, is there any way in the budget, maybe not this year, but next year, as far as maybe approaching Pat to use Juanitos as a community center?
so again, there is a master plan for the community center. The pool was the first piece of that was built, okay? And there's a master plan for things to go around the pool. Part of the tennis beautification is part of the master plan that was going to be done. Because the tennis committee committed money and donated plants and donated people to dig and everything else, that got started, but it was done according to what the plan is. So there is a master plan to do that there. And again,
Well, how about as far as an interim plan, you know, like a
But-
bridge until we get there to use?
it's still going to cost money to do that, right? And we don't want to put money down there, even if Pat would let us to do it, because we really want to build the community center where it's supposed to be. If we need to use something, we use this facility, right? But we don't have.
Well, there's a lot of conflict sometimes, you said.
Well, there is, but we work through that. It's just, you know, we really want to get the community center the way.
So your answer is no.
The answer is no. Okay, one more. One more question. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Jean Burnham and live at Vista Del Mar, and I'm curious about the Baja Medical Center. Are we going to retain the same doctor there?
The answer is we don't know. So here's the issue, right, with doctors, okay? And I know Baja Medical has been trying to get new doctors and new blood in there. They're not available. We actually went and looked at maybe getting people fresh out of medical school. I can tell you the young doctors fresh out of medical school have no desire to move to San Felipe. No desire. They want to be in Tijuana or Mexicali or someplace else. We can't get the doctors. So again, we are kind of the back orders here. You know, we have problems with just getting people down here. So they're trying to get different doctors, but
Well, it's kind of unfortunate because the doctor's there now, and I have been many times with the problem, and he doesn't diagnose right. And we've had this complaint many times.
so I agree with you. And again, when we did the survey, we had a lot of people make those comments, but we also had a lot of people make the comments they love the doctors, right? Telemedicine, if we can get that put in there, will help us with the diagnosis, right? If we can bring in somebody from the States that assists the doctors, then hopefully that'll work out better. Right now, it's all we can get. It's all they can get. Okay. So I'm done. If you have other questions at the end, please raise those questions, but I want to get back on track.
Thank you. I think today was a very informative presentation. Thank you very much, Steve. Very well prepared. Okay, now the next point in the agenda is to vote for the supervisor committee for the next 2 years in accordance with Article 66. The appointment of the president is done by the developer, so would you please appoint the president of the supervisors committee, please.
The developer asked Steve Kimmy to continue in his role as the president of the supervisory committee, and he has accepted.
Congratulations and thank you, Steve. Okay, now the next is, let me inform you that we received by email in accordance with the new process that was instituted in 2016 that we were going to receive by email the candidacies of the people who wants to run for supervisors. We received 3. One from Ed Jones, one from Joseph Stephen, and the other one by Richard Peterson. This doesn't exclude that there can be nominations from the floor. So if somebody wants to nominate somebody from the floor, you can do it right now. Let me just explain this. If there is a nomination, they will have to go to support the firm to fill the candidacy form, so we have all the process done. Are there any candidacy from the floor? There are not, so I close the candidacies from the floor. So right now we are going to require from each one of the candidates that we have to present themselves and give us a brief explanation of their background and what they want to do once they become elected supervisors. Remember that we are going to elect 2 persons. We have 3 candidates. Would you please start, Ed?
Good morning. Nice to see you guys here. I'm kind of disappointed in the low turnout. I'm used to seeing 300 to 400 people here. We're under 200, so thank you for coming because it's very important. It's been my pleasure to represent you guys for the last 10 to 12 years as a supervisor. My wife and I have been here for 18 years. We've owned up to 6 properties. And I've worked with a very, very good team of people, Steve, Bob, and the team is also the supervisors from the Seaside and the HOA management and the developer. As part of the new approach to where once a month all supervisors, the developer, and the HOA management gets together, we have repaired and improved our relationship with the developer. He's involved knowledge-wise on everything that goes on, but he leaves us alone. He lets us operate independently as an HOA. And my personal philosophy is, whether he gets financing or not, is to keep the HOA completely independent of the developer. Now, he does have some votes, but he doesn't vote on everything. For example, he will not be voting in the supervisor's election today. It'll be up to you folks and the proxies to pick who you like. I've been deeply involved in the budget process from day one. Every line item, I was involved in the very first budget that was put together. If there was a committee of any kind from 2005 forward, I was either the chair or served on that committee. And so I've seen a lot of changes in the 12, 13 years that I've been here as an owner and as a supervisor. For one thing, everything that Steve went through up there, we as team members, not individual supervisors or individual administrators, we as team members made all those things happen for you guys because our sole purpose is to take care of you. Now, some of you don't, I guess, actually believe that it's true. You know, some of the things we've done without raising your dues, we've replaced over 21 vehicles. We got rid of 8-cylinder vehicles where possible, so we have less gas and diesel consumption, and so we have less maintenance. We finished the infrared wall fence around. Now, what that's done for us in working with the developer, no longer do we arrest somebody, take them downtown, and they get turned loose. We arrest those sons of bitches, they go to Mexicali to jail. I was the chairman of the very first finance committee that made sure that the two different HOAs' finances were separated. When I first headed up that committee, a lot of money was leaking from mountainside to seaside, and we got a great deal of that corrected. I chaired the Dorado committee. Now, if you don't know what that is, when Pat Butler was going to donate the property for us to have the pools in the community center, tax-wise, we would have to pay a lot of taxes for receiving it, and he had to pay a lot of taxes for giving it. So the attorneys came up with a document called the comodato, which means it's an irrevocable agreement between the HOA and Pat Butler saying we can use this property, and there are some usage clauses in there that we cannot do. We can't bring another rental company in to compete with his business. We can't bring in a motel, blah, blah, blah. The only thing that he doesn't want us to do is to bring in something that would hurt his business, because after all, El Dorado Ranch is a for-profit corporation. I've worked directly with Cruz Roja and the Rotary Club. I've developed a personal relationship with the director of Cruz Roja North, Baja North, and working with him on making sure that we have local good ambulances. I've worked with BMC and Rotary to make sure that the ambulances are completely stocked with proper materials. One of the guys running for supervisor today, Dick Peterson, I worked with him because he's a big guy at Cruz Roja and Rotary. But now, is that important? Yes. As I represent you, what I want to make sure is we have the services to take care of us. And one of them is we need a good ambulance service here. And we don't want that ambulance to have nothing but a frame. We want supplies in there. So we worked with Baja Medical Center, and they buy around $700 a month worth of supplies to resupply anything used in those ambulances. Now, we've got a couple of really good guys besides, we've got two. We've got two more guys running, and it's refreshing because both of them are fantastic people. I love them both. Now, I'm asking for your vote because I don't want to see 2/3 of the present supervisory committee to be new guys. I'd like to stay around for at least another term so that Steve and I can bring the new guy aboard and educate him how things work. The one thing that you guys are not privy to is like any public office. You really find out what's going on once you come inside. So I'm asking for your vote to keep me for a couple more years so we can keep some transition smooth between the new guy coming on and the existing supervisors. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you. Now I will ask Mr. Joseph Stephen to come to the front, please, and make his presentation and his background, please.
There was a man with a lot of knowledge, and he's correct. We need somebody in the state that has the knowledge, that can train a new person, so that when the time comes where he's going to leave, he can step into his shoes. Let me make one correction. Obviously, by the way, I am standing up for those of you that want to know, because the two other candidates are about 6'4". So I'm a little close to the ground for speed. And anybody that's got a yellow pages that I can stand on, that would bring me up a little. this short and sweet because I know you have a lot of things to do today. So I'm going to give you a real fast brief on me. Most of you, I would think, have already read my resume. My wife and I purchased our property in Dorado in 2005. We started building in 2014 when we retired, and we moved down to become permanent residents here in August of 2015. Back in 2001, we bought a home in a gated community in Las Vegas. There were no rules, regulations, or anything like that. So I was instrumental in working with the developer in setting up an HOA, CC&Rs, committees, and a reserve fund that covered the contingencies that arose in the community. I was elected president for 4 terms and served 8.5 years. My professional experience began when I completed my military service, when I joined a major department store chain and went through their executive management training program. I spent 15 years in fashion industry as a senior executive on marketing, sales, and understanding the priorities of service and budgets. I opened 3 successful men's clothing stores, further enhancing my operational and budgetal skills. I joined a manufacturer dealing with hospitality in the industries in Las Vegas, and in February of 2012, I started my own hospitality company dealing with the hotels, nightclubs, restaurants, and helping them with their marketing goals while staying within budget. While working in the business world, I was on the board of directors of a non-profit organization for 18 years and served as their vice president, raising funds to fulfill the needs of their community. Well, that's all the fluff. So what do you want? You want to know what I'm going to do for the community? Well, all I can do is tell you what my goals are. I'm not going to make a lot of promises because a lot of promises have been made to you, and you end up being disappointed. I'm going to focus on the management, the budget management, support services, and ensure that these services are meeting the needs of the community, while making sure that each of you are heard and your opinions are recognized. I'll make sure that everything is done to beautify the community and improve the conditions of our roads while safeguarding our investments in El Dorado Ranch and providing an opportunity to increase our property values. While doing that, it is important that we all spread the word that the ranch is a wonderful place to live and to retire. I believe that the next 2 years are going to be very important, and that's exactly where we need somebody that does have experience, that has been here for a long time. The most important thing for me, and the one promise I will make you, is that I will not get involved with another organization that does not benefit our community. I will devote all of my time to you and the priorities and focus on this community. In conclusion, I have a very positive attitude. I enjoy working with others, and as a permanent resident, I feel that my years of professional experience, combined with my previous service and related experience, will add a benefit to the HOA. I will make myself available to you, present you, and represent you and your interests fairly and consistently. That is why at this time I'm asking you for your vote as El Dorado Supervisor. Thank you very much. That was short and sweet. Everybody mixes them up. It's Stephen Joseph, not Joseph Stephen.
Thank you, Mr. Stephen Joseph. Sorry for that. Okay, next I will call Mr. Richard Peterson to the front of the microphone, please. And same thing, give us your experience and your background, please.
Thank you, Roberto. I know everybody's getting tired of sitting, so I'll make my comments brief as well. My wife Elizabeth and I bought ranch property almost 10 years ago, and we were looking towards retirement. We spent several long weekends and holidays here and liked it. When we decided the retirement date was rapidly approaching, we spent 2 weeks here in the arduous time of July and August, and we still liked it. It didn't stop us. Then we decided that we should begin the arduous task of looking for a proper design and architecture of building a home. But wait, we had a non-electric electric lot. That didn't stop us either. We still liked it here. So we searched and found a house, bought it, remodeled it, and made it our home. I'm telling you this because yes, every development has its problems, but El Dorado has many pluses that outweigh the problems, and we're happy to call El Dorado our home. We've been full-time residents here in Rancho del Sol 3 for almost 5 years and become very active in the community. You may have seen my wife, Elizabeth, at Second Chance Resale, where she is actively involved, directing thousands of dollars to the community every year. Thanks to your donations and support. I too am active in the community. Here in the ranch, I'm part of SAFE, checking your homes when you're away. I'm also on the Baja Medical Advisory Board, a position that I applied for and secured to better understand and to try to solve issues that may arise with BMC. Oh, and I can't forget the dog park. Recently I was a part of the tree planting and I'm on the monthly poop detail. In town, I'm active in the Rotary Club of San Felipe, helping the local community. I believe that we have one community here in San Felipe, and that is important to support and understand the local community as well. Like I said, one community. When we first moved to El Dorado, I became active in the ranch, asking questions, evaluating answers, and forming my opinion. In a few instances, the questions that I asked resulted in some changes in some HOA procedures. Those of you who know me know that's the way I am. I want to be involved, I want to ask questions, and I want to reach some solutions. There are several areas in the ranch that have me concerned. One big item is the abandoned lots on the ranch, leaving behind trailers, debris, outbuildings. Repeatedly at meetings when I've heard some residents come up to this podium and ask what can be done, I've heard we can't from the powers that be. In researching the condominium regulations, Title 3, Article 36 sets forth guidelines for maintenance of lots. So I don't say we can't. I say let's identify the problems and work in cooperation with the administration and seek an answer. And I say, let's try. I would also like to see the beautification of the main entrance of the ranch. That is what people see when they enter the ranch. Let's have something nice, something that is appealing and makes them say, wow, this is someplace I would really like to live. El Dorado Ranch is Elizabeth's and my home and our future. We plan on being here a long time and want to be a part of the El Dorado future. I appreciate your confidence and vote today. Thank you.
Okay, now we will take the voting. We will do it by ballot. So I will ask our clerks, please, once you finish, you have your ballots, I want just to clarify something. We have to elect 2 supervisors. There are 3 candidates. You can only vote twice, but not twice for the same person. Okay? If you put the 3 marks and the three marks, there's no way that we know which 2 you want. Mark 2, please. And once you have your ballot, raise your hands so our clerks can go to you and pick up them so they can count them and we will have the answer. Yes, okay, I think so we have all of that. Okay, while the clerks count the votes, I'm going to make this presentation of the work that we have achieved through the last months after the last town hall meeting, which was in September. So I'm going to present this slide presentation. As you know, in each town hall, I present the work that we have been doing between the town halls. This is a nice chance of this year to present the last work that we have been doing. In February, you will see the next chapter, which is from now up to February. So I want to keep you informed of everything that we are doing. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So we'll start with the first slide. I'll sit down because if not, I'm covered. Go ahead, please. This is the Pole Solar project that Steve mentioned. This is the pump here, and we surrounded it, and then we close it with gates all around here, so nobody can come in and touch the controls or whatever. We did these too because sometimes there are kids around the pool, and we don't want them to come in and have problems with their equipment or whatever. Next, please. There is a heat pump fence. You can see it finished, and we have it locked maybe 95% of the times. Sometimes the maintenance people is working around there, so they have to. But next, please. This is the Cachanilla pool reparation. This is the volleyball pool that we repaired. You can see here as the steps, and we take out all material from the bottom and from the sides. We redo it completely. This was a process. We went to professionals to seek out how to solve the problem. And after 1 year that we fixed it, I think so we solved it totally. It was a little hard to get all the information that we needed, but we concluded, and right now it's working very well. Next, please. This is how it is right now. This was a process. Here they were just at half of it. This is the whole thing done. So right now this is like it goes. Next, please. We painted the shade structures. Well, this is a continuous process because the salt, the mist in the air, and we are very close to the ocean, so we have to keep doing this year. You can see we do it with primer, and then we paint them the normal gray that we use. Next, please. We painted the other handrails around Cachanilla pool. The same thing to keep them in good condition and not get them rusted and deteriorated. Next. We have been cleaning the grease. This is a continuous process. This is happening because the oil that the people use to suntan mixed with the dust that flies in the air, which is continually bringing into the pool by the wind. And even that we have protections in the back like here, and here we have nets and we have plants outside to protect them, but anyhow they mix up in the water and then finish it in the graves. Finally we are cleaning them continuously. Next, please. We have been replacing some steel rings that on time they get rusted because of the water. Same thing, we make them with stainless steel, then we paint them so they can last longer. Next, please. We bought these mats and we put them in the bathrooms, all around them. These are very good mats. They are unsleepable. You can go wet and you can walk on them into one sleep. We put this new drug use is prohibited in public areas, so we don't have any problem with the authority. Next, please. Next. We painted around the bathrooms at Cachanilla. We replastered where it was necessary, and right now they're brand new. You can see them finished here. Next, please. We add ventilation turbines at Cachanilla pool room. This is where the pumps and the equipment is to make it cooler. And that will provide a better ambience for our workers to work too, because in the heat of of the season in the summer, it's very, very hot inside. Right now it has ventilation and it's a lot cooler. Next, please. By the Cachanilla Spa, we have, with the pump here and the new equipment that we added there, we have to add an electric main center to separate the cables that were in, and sometimes they were like 2 in 1. I don't like that, so I said, you know, we're going to make a new electric main so we don't have any kind of hazard with electricity, so we did it. Next, please. We changed in the pool pumps, the safety valves. Right now, in the past, if we have to make a reparation here, we have to close the system so the water was not flowing into the pool. Right now, we have 2 extra safety valves. If we have to work in this motor, we close it, and the other one still works. Same thing in the other area. This is the main pool, this is the volleyball pool. We do it in both sides, so right now we avoid any problem with that kind. Next, please. Draining jacuzzi area. This was causing a trouble. This is the drain that came from the shower, so we take it out, and right now there's not more water in the area. It's no more safe. Next, please. Oh, sorry, this is the finished work. Next. Warehouse construction and Cachanilla pools. In the past, our guys didn't have a place to work, so we decided to make a warehouse construction. So right now they can, this is the beginning, but they were making the iron work and they stamped the floor so it can have good support. And then they put the basement and they start putting the railings. Next, please. The iron work. Then they start with the floor and the rebars around to put the blocks inside. They were constructing here. This was all the construction finished. Then start working in the inside. They make the doors after that, and here is the final structure. You can see that it blends perfectly with the old building. So when you see it, it's not like something added that doesn't look good. It goes perfectly with the architecture that we were using. So right now they have a place. The construction is finished. Inside there is electricity, air conditioning, everything that is needed, except we have to make the woodwork areas for next year. Next, please. We added slow signs in Saltito Road. And there are some other ones that were requested by Tony Cuevas in the last meeting. We are working on them. That makes sense, so we are adding them. And yes, I catch up about the driving of our own employees. Let me tell you that I have been in the security meetings and we are talking to the supervisors. The people who keeps driving fast will put them down on foot. Next, please. These are the examples of the signs marking the kilometers and the miles. The helmet type controls in conditions, drive slowly. This goes for everybody. Another thing, I'm going to ask the police car that we have in El Dorado to stop our guys and give them tickets if that's necessary. Next, please. Road sign reflecting signals. These were done so the people can see mainly in the curves in the dark areas of the ranch. So when you are driving, you can see where the road is. Sometimes there's no easy to see it, so we added all of these like here and here, so you can have some reflection, so you can see where the road is. Next. Perimeter trench. Besides the infrared system, we are digging trenches around the ranch, so the cars cannot come in. With this way we take all ATCs and all the four-wheelers, everything that goes into the desert with 4x4, they can avoid this. So, but in the meantime, the animals that live in the desert, they can move around without any trouble. Next. Red Deer added a Rancho Sol 3. Next. Cleaning and painting recreational areas at Palos Verdes. Next. Garbage containers repair. We have a program with the company that provides the service. If they hit the walls, if they destroy for some reason the walls with the truck, they repair it and on their cost. We are not doing that anymore. They are repainting the containers, so they have to be in good shape. Next. Palm tree streaming. We lose some palms in one of the entrances. We were reminded of that yesterday. We are going to put them back next week. Next, please. Accounting office for repair. It was in this condition. We took all the tile out because in wood it doesn't stay. We get rain, it gets out of glue, so the cement. So right now we just decided to leave it in wood with the stain on it, so it is a lot nicer and it's not slippery either. Next, please. We repaired the wall at Saltito office. This is by when you go out of the main entrance of the ranch. This was very deteriorated, as you can see right now. It looks very well. Next. Blue gate repair. This is in the La Ventana. I don't know why this picture is here. It has to be in La Ventana. Next, please. Rancho del Sol gate repair. These ones get a lot of use all the time, going up and down, so they go out and we have to repair them. Mainly is this part which gets broken. So on time we repair them. That's almost a year work. Next. Lamp installation in Saltito gate. This is new lamps that save energy. The good thing is that we can replace just the bulbs too, so we are saving a lot of money there. Next. Activities car reparation. This was done at the beginning of the year. You can see that it was rusted. There were some wood pieces broken. Right now it looks finished in a very good condition, and we can move a lot of clippings and things like plants that were cut out of the properties easy out of there. Next, please. ACs, we finished with all the air conditioners in all the guard sites and the ranch and all the entrances. And right now we are covering them. I think so by now all of them are covered too. So right now they are in a better condition. The guys are very happy. In the cold, in the hot months, they are cool inside. Next. Pump replacement in Camino Nuevo Gate. It was very old, so we have a new one there. Next. Tennis court entrance floors. We put these ones and we are adding the cement pads. We just received from the tennis club a list, a very short list fortunately now. The first one that they gave to us was a long list. Right now it's very short, and I think so we will work on that very fast. So we are adding the tennis court entrance floors and some mats. Next, please. These stairs are being completed. We still have one or two to finish. Next, please. Tennis court tape machine. This machine was a $2,500 expense to buy, but good luck. One of our employees just make a copy of it and it works perfectly. So we save a lot of money, at least $200, $300. Next, please. Don't say that to the company who has the plant. Tennis court practice board. This was one of the requirements of the tennis club. It was like this. This is the finished product. Next, please. Power tools. We bought belt sander, hammer drill, chop saw, precision saw, and tape. So our guys right now can work more precisely. So it's getting better in the quality and in the functionality. Next. Air compressor, welding cable, wet and dry bacon, stick welding machine. Same thing. We are not buying this equipment very often, so we will buy it when it wears up or is wearing out. But right now, they are very well supplied. Next, please. We bought 6 Raider tires. You can see that they are brand new. We are not buying second-hand tires, so they last longer. Next. We bought this year a new water truck, Hamburg 2007. It's very good. So we have right now, we only have to buy another we will complete. Next, please. Repair and painting of 2 water tanks. This is the way that we maintain the units. We don't want them to buy them nice and get them go to rust and deterioration in 2 years. You can see that this is what the water do to the trucks. The salt and the use of them. These are the trucks that water the roads when the graders are working. So each 2 years we take them to the shop that we have in the Hino. And this is the way we prime them. We don't paint them over the truck. We take the tank out. You can see here with the change, we take it out. We plant it in 200 gallons blocks, let's say. And then we prime the truck, we prime the tank, and then we paint it. Next. So in that way they last 2 years. New tires for Peterbilt water truck. We have a guy who is an expert in tires at the shop. Next. New tires for the backhoe. Next. We bought a Toyota Tundra for administration this year. Next. Security. We have the Cachanilla pool security cameras. One in black swimming pool, jacuzzi area, bathrooms and trans, volleyball pool, and between jacuzzi and volleyball pool. With this, we have avoided a lot of problems. We can act very fast when there is necessary security or cleaning or whatever. So we can have a very total view of what is happening at our pools. If there's problems with renters or whatever. Next, please. Cachanilla pool security cameras. Main entrance building. This is the monitor where we can see all of the cameras or choose to see one or the whole screen can be one. Main entrance building. Next, please. Here we have alcohol breath tester. This is if we feel that one of our employees come with some cervezas in his stomach, we can test him. And if he is in that condition, back to home, first time. Second time, you're out of here. Safety cones, iron chairs for the security guards, warehouse shelving, and fire hoses. This warehouse was done last year. It's the one that is there to Punto Uno or to security headquarters. These are the fire hoses that we bought for the fire machine. Next, please. Security uniforms in the shelving. You can see that right now they are very ordered and we provide them to our people. We bought 260 pants, 153 shirts, 78 pairs of boots and 4 jackets. The jackets are very important because now that the winter comes in, it's really cold between 2 and 4 in the morning. And I can tell you that I've been there. Oh yes, yes. Next, security. We added a printer and for the security director and desk. And right now there is a new chair too. Next, please. There is a laser printer. Next one, please. We have first aid kits in several places. One is in Punto Uno. We have at the pool. We have some other areas. So if something happens, we can act fast. But this is for minor things. It's not for something big. Next, please. Soldering iron. This is for the guy who fixes the lights and the lamps. He is saving a lot of money to us. Next. We bought 3 digital TK 2402 radios. Next, please. And Tacoma 2010 for security. This is the Noble 4. All of them are marked with number and with the logo of Dorado. And they say security or they say maintenance. So if you're going to say that somebody is speeding, please look at this and this. Because there are some other cars that are not HOA and I don't want to carry them on me. Next, please. Tacoma 2007. This is Model 7. This is a new car that we bought this year too. Next. Digital camera. We bought them for Punto Uno 2. Remember that 2 years ago we had one of our supervisors of security pass away when we was going out of the office to the car. And and he just having a heart attack and dying and walking down. And nobody noticed at the moment because there were no cameras. So until somebody saw him lying on the floor, they went to assist him, but he was passed out already. So we added the digital cameras in that area too. Next, please. These are a fingerprint reader. This is for when the people come into work, and when they go to work, they have to put their finger in the machine. So there is no, I came, I didn't came, I was late, I didn't was late. So you put your finger, you're registered, that's it. We pay you or we don't pay you. Next, please. LED flashlight. We have these ones so we can, when the guys are running, chasing the burglars or intruders or whatever, they can have a very good light. We have LED flashlights over the cars right now too, some of them. The new one doesn't have them yet, but we will add them flashlights for cars on top of them. Next, please. We put 2 microwave ovens. With these ones we finish in all the gates of the guards. This was one for Camino Nuevo and Hacienda del Sol. When they are on shift, they work 12 hours, so they have to bring some lunch and they have to warm it up somehow. So we put the microwaves. Next one, please. These were the last mini splits that we put. It was in Palos Verdes, in the security director office, and Rancho del Sol 4. Next, please. We bought, this is the first DAE defibrillator battery that we bought. This year we replaced 2. We still have one other one to buy. This is still working. But we know the expiration dates on them, so we still have to buy another one. Next, please. We bought 8 new tires for Tacoma 2006 and Tacoma 2007, Model 2 and Model 7. Next, please. New tires for security car number 6. Next. These are telephone kits that are in the offices, the ones that we have were very old. We were working in not very good condition. That's why some people report, nobody answered when I called, they were not working. So we bought new telephones. Next, please. Security belts with accessories. Right now that we register our security guards as security guards, no first responders, they can use handcuffs, and they can use patrons, and they can use a lot of equipment that they were not allowed, pepper spray, and some more things. So right now they are better equipped and they can have a lot more response. Next, please. Security gates. All the gates right now have these chairs, and they have where to sit. So it's not just in the iron. They are done with very good materials, so they will last forever. Next, please. We reconditioned the car wash. We added gravel, so when we were moving the cars out, they were getting mudded. Right now, they go out very well. There you can see the squad car from the police that we have at the ranch. It stays at the ranch. Next, please. We added water coolers for security in the different areas they are, and radio batteries to change while they are charging the other ones. Next. This is the kind of lights that we are putting in the cars. This is the new car, the number 6. Is LED lights, so they can see far away when they are driving in the desert. Next. We added a tower for best communication. With this one, we have communication almost in all the range. This is the Punto Uno. We have to contract an exterior company to put it on because it's very, very tall. With this one, we have a magnificent communication. Next, please. This is where the main entrance to the Rancho to La Ventana del Mar is. This is right in front where property management used to be next. You can see this building there. That's the laundry of property management. This is the entrance of that area. And we built this tower so our people can go up and look around when they are not opening and closing the gate right here. So we can have a new post of observation here. Long way. Next, please. Activities. Wireless speaker, Hitachi projector, 2 wireless microphones, HP printer, cell data drive, whiteboard. Next. This is activities, sports equipment, pool sound system, winter uniforms for tires for activity vehicle. Next. 2 ceiling fans and digital camera. Next. Activities uniforms for summer. Next. Opening new areas at Catania tennis courts. There was a work that the tennis club put together, well, like Steve explained, with their funds, their own funds. I know where people cut them out to take the holes with the backhoe and work with them in the details. They have a nice party after that. Next. Right now we are giving better awards so that people feel that it's nice to get like an Olympic award. Next. New activity, the 7-hole tournament that was existing. It was very exciting. In the winter months, they keep going more or less between 10 and 15 people playing each Monday. It was very good. Right now it's going to be suspended because of different reasons, mainly working in the course, so it can get even better than it is right now. Next, please. Bike ride to San Felipe. This was a new activity too. Next. Cooking classes, they were very successful. I think so this year they're going to be continued now that the residents are coming back for the winter months. Next. Mexicali bus trip, it was very, very good. They will be keeping working on this. Next. Valentine bus trip, we have to invent pretexts to go out. So we'll find another date. Next. Water basketball. Next. Walk on the beach, driving, movie, and congratulations golf. Next, please. This is it. A little bit long, but I wanted to present, especially for the people who come use for the HOA GA. So the people who is resident, they can see mainly the downtowns what we are doing each time. But right now, the people who is here just for the winter time can see what we have been doing. You can see that we have been buying a lot of stuff. This is because we didn't have it. Next year is going to lower in certain things. Like I say, we only have one more water truck to buy. Maybe you have seen that big hauling truck that we have for the water that goes all around the ranch. We will make it shorter, so we will save in maintenance, we will make savings in fuel, and we will solve that one old truck. Okay, our clerks are still counting the ballots, so we will give them some more time. In the meantime, I'm going to present the budget. Arturo is looking for it. Okay, here it is. Okay, you can see. No, try to make it clear, please. Trata de hacerlo un poquito más claro. Is it better? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. As you can see, this is the first page that we sent to all of you when we sent the information about the meeting. We have here 4 columns with all the items in the left side. The budget for 2007, here you can see the exchange rate that was calculated for the budget of 2017. This is the projection year number of 2017. So this means how we expect to finish. This was the original budget. This is how we expect to finish. This is the budget of 2018. Then you can see the exchange rate that we use here is 1750. And this is the budget of 2018 against 2011. An annual tools owner we use the number of 3,980 paying owners. This is the number where we base our budget. Here, the budget for 2018 is 3,562,482. Sorry. I don't see either very well. 642 or 842. Then it comes to the annual dues lease lots. It's the same thing. In 2018, we have 50,039 estimated collections, 270,000, TRC 30,000, and resort fees 50,000. That makes a total of 4,127,881. In expenses, we have salaries, maintenance, guest services, collection department, supplies, utilities, the IVA cost of all of these, and the total administration expenses. Same thing, budget of 2017, 777,938. The budget for 2018 is 815,337. You can see that there is a line item for each one, and in the next pages we can go into detail into each one, or you can go into a website, take it out, you can print it out, or you can just download it to your computer and you can read it exactly how it is. So if you want to go deeply into it, you can do it very, very well. Here in salaries we have 22,326 for this year. Maintenance is 16,000. You can compare. In maintenance we keep the same number. This is the expected number that we expect to finish spending this year here. So we are keeping the same number like last year. In the guest services, we are lowering from 15,611 the budget of 2011. We are expecting to spend 3,996. We are budgeting 3,023. So you can see the differences here in the percentage. Some go up, some go down, but you can see that we have compared and reviewed line by line with the help of the supervisors in each line item. This is a lot of work that we put together, and we work together with the supervisors. The collection department, we budgeted 30,899. We expect to collect 31,416. So we increased the collection this year to 34,947. Supplies 15,000, 13,458, 14,000. So this we diminished. Utilities 48,700, 52,505, 52,350. Why in utilities? The electricity is coming up, the gas is coming up, and the fuel is coming up. We just received a notice from IRS in the television and press that next year gasoline is going up again. So when gasoline goes up, electricity goes up, gas goes up. So we have to be aware of that beforehand. So we anticipated it. At least we try to adjust it the most we can. In maintenance, same thing, administration, we came down 1% from 13,940 to 13,812. Maintenance, we went a little bit up, 96,874 to 105,589. Pool expenses, 160,27 to 171,292. Ecology, 31,256 to 32,284. Road services, 291,172 to 266,055. Mechanic shop, 35,458 to 36,907. In activities, in administration, 73,000. We expect to close at 71. We have been short in elements and activities. So we want to complete the crew and get back to 76,600. Maintenance from 1,500 to 2,026. Supplies 11,926, 11,995. Utilities 7,050 to 7,383. Security administration 54,661 and 56,238. Security department 623,923, 623,673. This is almost equal. City police from 9,517 to 5,900. This was a lot higher because we had to repair the police squad several times this year. Right now, we are done with that. We expect to not have to do a lot more on it. Contracts from 1,479,715 to 1,364,504. This is a deduction of 8%, which is very interesting. And we have 7% less in IVA, and that makes an 8% in average. So the total operation expenses from 3,971,215 to 3,876,848. So this is a diminishing of 2%. Total capital expenditure, we came down from 281,850 to 250,386, diminishing of 11%, sorry. Income less expenses, 22,585, 647, 9, minus 97. In total, 4,275,650 to 4,127,881, minus 3%. So we are very close to the budget of last year. We are trying to save the most we can and trying to do the most effective work possible. Next, please. Right here I was explaining, we have the detail of each one of the budgeted items, like administration. You can see here is salaries, administration, trust fees, training, licenses and plates of the cards, employee meals, uniforms, postage, bank fees, permits, fee concession, insurance policy, prosperity, property tax. This is the green belts, property tax, this lot, property tax, community center, guest services, salaries, uniforms, office supplies, collection department, salaries, telephones, office supplies, postage, maintenance, vehicle maintenance, supplies, office supplies, water, coffee, utilities, gasoline, cellular phone, telephone and lines, and electricity, and the IVA that everything of this has to pay. In salaries, we added 20%. This is with the increase of salaries, 253,317. We'll go to 303,065. Administration trust fees from 241,405 to 241,105. That's equal. Training is the same, 1,500. Licenses 756, the same. Employee meals, we go 11% out. US 4,005 to 5,000. Uniforms 1,380 to 1,500. Postage 200, same. Bank fees. This is something that I want to clarify. This is mainly the credit card commissions. When the people pay with credit cards, the bank charges commissions. Okay, we can go each line by line, but I don't think you would like to do that. But I can give you the totals from 777,938 to 815,337. So this is a difference of 6%. There are pluses and there are minus. So this is mainly what it is in administration. Next one, please. This is maintenance. Same thing, 696,288 to 690,575 is minus 1%. These we have been able to achieve because we have a lot of new tools and the people is very more productive and more sharp in what they are doing. So that's why this is not growing, we are keeping it on hand. Next please. Activities, 97,794 to 102,440, 5% more. This is mainly, like I explained, because of we want to complete the crew that we need. We have been short on there. Next, and utilities, gasoline, you can see here, it's at 600 more. So these are the things that are going on. But telephone care lines are coming down, you can see. Next, please. Security from 711,245 to 708,712. Here, same thing, we are spending less because we are very more productive and we are buying less equipment this year because we already bought several things that we needed. Okay, that goes from, the next one is contracts, from 1 million, ¿qué dice? 1,658,960 to 1,559,785. Well, here the numbers are not very clear, we'll try to make it better. But in the website they are very clear. If you print them, they are totally clear. Next, please. These are the capital expenses. You can see that we have the water truck I talked to you about. We are trying to sell the old truck. The grader cat, we want to buy one. The old grader sale, we will want to sell one. We want to buy a new fire truck. The one that we have is very nice piece of museum. Vehicles, new car and security, we still have to buy 3 cars. Security director car, operations manager car. This one is already bought. Personal bus, we already did 2. Special projects, oh sorry, this was 17, sorry. Let's go to 18. It's a new truck, the grader, and the fire truck. And to sell 2 pieces of equipment that are old. We have to buy one car in security, and this the operations manager car is already bought. And this is for the security director car. Special projects, finish the International Pickable Center. The air conditioners, we still have to buy some. Pool equipment, pool furniture, and security central monitoring C4. These, let me comment on this. We went from 201,950 to 150,386. So we are trying to save money here selling these 2 pieces of equipment. Okay, next please. That's it. Okay, so if you want to see the detail, please go to the website. If not, we will stay here longer than necessary. Okay, now that I presented the budget and you have had the opportunity to look at it into the webpage because it was sent but to you when we send the information about the GA and it was posted in the webpage too. So do I have a motion to, yes, I have. That we have a motion, do we have a second? Those in favor? Those not in favor? So the motion passes. We have a budget for 2018. Thank you very much. Right now we only have to wait for our clerks to finish. I think so they are in that process right now. And then we will know.
Okay, so that you know what we did, this is, one of those transparency things, is each of us counted every ballot. And as we counted it and tallied it, we tallied it in our own paperwork, and we signed it, right? And then I counted all mine, and he counted all his, and then he counted all mine, and I counted all his. So it was double checked twice, and it was tallied on here. So we feel pretty confident that we're accurate. I'll let you make the big announcement.
As far as goes, no hanging shadows.
Wait for it. Commercial break.
So let me make a question here.
Also.
Who's first?
It's
Also.
one is yours, one is.
So they corroborate each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
Well, because there's doubles, you wanted to make sure.
yes. Okay, in accordance with the ballots that the clerks received, its elected people is Ed Jones and Rich. By Ed Jones, he has 117 votes and 111 for Richard and Steve 97. So those are the numbers. Congratulations to all of you who have been elected, and thank you very much for our candidate that was not elected but has a very good participation. We appreciate your hard work. Thank you very much. Okay, this concludes the business. Yes. This concludes the business for the ordinary assembly. Is there a motion to close the meeting?
I make a motion to close the 2017 General Assembly owners meeting.
Signaling. Okay, those in favor? Not in favor. Okay. Thank you very much for assisting, and thanks again for Bob Miller, who is finishing his term this time. Thank you for your valuable job. Yes, Steve. Oh, sorry. Yeah. There, if you have any questions, you can go to the microphone on the right side. Yes. The meeting is closed right now. If you have questions,